My name is Pocket Dragon. I'll be your host for Valkyrie Profile 2. I do just want to give a quick reminder we are here for NAMI, which is the National Alliance of on Mental Illness. Uh, we For supporting them, we are oh my goodness. Um, so we do just want to remind you that it is important to donate. You know, suicide is the third leading cause of death in youth aged 10 to 24, and the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. overall. 90% of those who died by suicide had an underlying mental illness. So this is extremely important cause. Now I am going to be turning this on over to our streamer CasinoCoin, so he can talk about the run a bit. All right.
Yes. So here I am. I'm in. I didn't prepare a lot of commentary for this, so hopefully things go well. Try my best. So time here begins on when I hit new game. So I can count you in. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so first off, uh, immediately you skip some cutscenes. Unlike the first game in the series, you can skip pretty much all the cutscenes in the game, which is really nice. Makes the run a lot shorter. It does mean you don't really have any breaks, but what can you do? You'll notice, first off, I'm jumping a lot. Jumping is slightly faster than just walking everywhere. Um, Not by too much, but it's enough that you want to just jump everywhere. So I believe at the start of the game, your main character here, Alicia, she wants to go to Dipan, which was she's actually the princess of Dipan, but she was like sent away a long time ago, and so she wants to go there, but there are no boats, so instead you have to go through this secret underground path. And that requires you to go through the forest and then to the underground path. So that's where we're headed right now. That was the first battle. So you can see in the first battle, and what you'll be seeing for a lot of the battles is there's a positional battle system. So basically, it's basically 2D, but you want to kind of move around and on the battlefield, and then there's like a radius that enemies have that show you where their attacks are. Right away, I'm going to save here. So something important. I want to get a particular Einherjar, which is so you can see I got my first Einherjar, Mithra, or Mitra as I call him. He's at level 1. His level can be either level 1 or level 2, which changes his strat for a later boss. Anyway, so the Einherjar that I want to pick up here is Krad. If I don't get Krad, I'll reload. I'll try a couple times to get Krad. If I can't get him within a few tries, I'll just load a save that has Krad. The difference between Krad and the other guy you can get, Roland, is massive. And if you don't get Krad, the game becomes like 3,000 times harder. So you do not want to get Roland. And yes, the big difference between the Chad Krad and the Virgin Roland, if you will. He's yeah, Roland's not very good for the run. And right off we got Krad. So it's a good start. Really good start. Who knows how the rest of the RNG will be, but we'll see what happens. So what I'm doing here like all the time, is you can see me shooting crystals out. A crystal will freeze an enemy on the overworld, and then I can shoot another one at it, and that will swap me with it. So I can kind of teleport around. It's important to do that a lot. So we got another cutscene there that gets us Dylan. We'll be using him as our main damage dealer for the first part of the run. And then we'll be switching to Alicia later. Something that might happen, I mean, it's happened to me every single time I've ever played this game, so it's probably going to happen. But randomly, the game might hang on a load screen for longer than it should. I call this getting tri-aced, but it's due to an anti-cheat system. And yes, an anti-cheat system in a single-player game, but it's due to an anti-cheat system that's been implemented in the game, and it causes the game to have problems with its loads. Shouldn't cause any real problems. I've had it crash the game one time, but yeah, it shouldn't be too much trouble. So we're approaching the first boss here, and I'm going to be saving before every boss because things can go very wrong very quickly. So I want to be sure that that doesn't happen, or at least I can load a save if it does. So yeah, the first boss is kind of like some kind of a rhino-looking guy. What we're going to do is we're going to break his face off, and that will kill him instantly. So, and that's not good. So I may have already failed. We'll find out fairly quickly here. Yeah, my positioning, so that at least for this, you can see what happens when things go wrong. Here, I wanted to break his face, and I do need this, by the way. I need to kill him as fast as possible. This gives me a good chance to explain the battle system while I die here, so I can reload a save. So you can see his radius of attack there, and that just tells me where I will get hit. Like, if his attack is active, it'll tell me where I will get hit by him. On the right side of the screen, you can see like kind of several check marks. If you kill the enemy faster, you get more experience, more like crystals, which I'll explain in a little bit. And I think you can get like better item drops. So and yeah, when you kill an enemy when it's on the first check mark, the red check mark, it's called a direct assault, and you want a direct assault for the first boss, and high experience for a few other bosses. So in this case, we do want the direct assault. Well, I'm going to be trying this again. Oh no. Okay, so it said reading disk. This might be giving me disk read errors, which is another part of the anti-cheat system, as far as I understand it. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it can get pretty bad. If it does, I'll try and pull the disc out of my PS2, and we'll see if that helps it. But this game is very temperamental. It likes to not work, so hopefully things don't turn out too bad. So things that can go wrong here, the boss can block me, or he can get fainted, but that worked out. I also got a good drop there, the Pact Chain, which saves me from having to buy an item later. The Pact Chain is a very good drop, but it's not 100%. I think it's 50-50. So getting the Pact Chain was good. But yeah, you can see I just broke his face and he died from it, so good first boss. The second try, unfortunately, but not much I can do about that. So here we are in Dipan. The reason that Alicia came back to Dipan, I believe, was because she wanted to talk to her father and get his aid. Because Alicia is actually... She has the spirit of the Valkyrie Silmeria inside of her. And they kind of share her body. And she wanted to come back to Dipan to get help from her father to deal with the gods, I believe? Something like that. She had been sent away because she had the spirit of the Valkyrie inside of her, but now she's back. So coming up here, there's a forced fight with a bunch of skeletons. I want to destroy a skeleton's legs, and that can get me an item called the Black Crystal, which gives me plus to my stats if I have a status ailment. I'll try and get that here. It's unlikely for me to fail, but I have done it before. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, that one didn't work. Okay, there we go. Got a black crystal. It's a fairly high drop chance. You're not likely to have to grind it out from other skeletons, so. But that's it's very useful. The stat bonus is pretty good for the early game, so we'll be using that for most of the game until we can fill up our equip list with other stuff. I'm going to try and skip most encounters if I can, and I'll usually run from other encounters. Mostly, until the late game, you can't really fight encounters, but once you get to the late game, you can fight encounters, but you just don't want to because it's very time consuming. So I'm going to pick up a crossbow here, which opens the chest, which actually changes the chest's hitbox. So I can then pile this on top and jump up here. And that gets me a double check, which I'll be using in the upcoming boss fight. Double check gives me doubled experience, which is important for the upcoming boss fight. So we'll be jumping around and collecting a few items here. Basically just to set up for the first boss, or this boss fight. So Mitra's level, he's level 1, but he could have been level 2, and depending on which level Mitra was when you got him, it changes the strategy for this boss. Interesting. So because Mitra is level 1, we get to do the slightly easier strat. If he had been level 2, you have to do a little bit more complex strategy. You have to change your party around, but for For level 1 Mitra, it's not too bad. Okay, so this kind of tentacle-looking guy. First, we'll start out by using the double check. So we now gain doubled XP. We're going to separate our groups. You can have up to 2 different combat groups. And so we're going to separate Crad and Dylan into a separate combat group. And try and get them behind the guy. And then, wow, that's some bad luck. So what we're trying to do here is get his HP down to the D in leader HP. You can see leader HP on the HP bar. So we basically just want to lower his HP to the D on leader HP. Now it's very possible I will have to repeat this fight because if I don't get enough experience to get Mitra to level up 4 times, it's not good enough. But hopefully we're still fine on that. When he does lock on, you strangely have to actually move Mitra closer to the other 2 guys, and that will enhance the chance that he actually targets them. Okay, I could get regeneration here. Nope. I need to kill these guys off, otherwise they'll sap experience from Mitra. Okay, so now that they're both dead, I can move Mitra closer, and I can use the flare gem that I just picked up. I just picked up this early in the dungeon, and then that kills the boss. Okay, so I did get 4 levels up, so that's good enough. So what I'm going to do immediately is the other thing you can do here. So you can pick up Einherjar in the environment from items that you see that are kind of glowing in the environment. But the other thing you can do with them, and like I'll be doing that in a bit, the other thing you can do with them is you can release them. So once they're a high enough level, you can release them into the world, and then they actually appear in the world and like give you items. So I just released Mitra. You have to get them to a high enough level to do that. So that's why it's very crucial that you get the right amount of experience in this early part of the game. So we release Mitra. You get some items that boost your stats when you release an Einherjar. This is actually very important for later in the run. But for now, we just need to release Mitra because he will give us an item when we meet him in the world. So now we've done what we wanted to here. The king betrayed us. Like, we went looking for the king, found him, he betrayed us, said, no, I'm not going to help you. So now we have to run away because there are soldiers that are coming to capture us. So we got to escape. We meet Frist. She's one of the other Valkyries. There are 3 Valkyries. You got Lenneth, who you might have seen in Covenant of the Plume. You got Lenneth. You got Frist, and you got Silmeria. Now, Silmeria is the one we're playing as. Frist is another one. She's got black hair. And then you got Lenneth with blue hair. So we just met Frist. Frist wants to kill Alicia and bring Silmeria back to Asgard, but that's not going to happen. Not yet, anyway. So we dodge her, pick up her sword that she threw down, and then exit. And we meet Lizard. He played Valkyrie Profile 1. It is the same Lizard. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense since this game is set like hundreds of years before Valkyrie Profile 1, but it does make sense. So we meet Lazard. He teleports us out of the castle. We then immediately go talk to Mitra. Mitra gives us an item, a very important item, the Holy Water of Mitra, and we'll be using that in a boss fight later. So now Silmeria is like, okay, the gods want to murk me and bring me back to Asgard. So I don't want that to happen. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go find a way to challenge the gods. Now, you can't just go challenging the gods. I mean, one does not simply challenge the gods, if you see what I'm saying. So we got to go find one of the legendary artifacts that stabilizes one of the, how many? 4 realms? So we have to find this artifact called the Dragon Orb. So that's most of what we're going to be doing, is looking for the Dragon Orb in various dungeons. So right now we're going to look for the Dragon Orb on the west side of the world. And we're going to start by asking some questions in Coriander. Coriander Village. We're also going to get introduced to the Accessory System. So basically you get accessories, and equipping different combinations of accessories, which is based on the rune that the accessory has. It's just a feature that all items have, is can be equipped. All items that can be equipped have a rune attached to them. So we're also going to talk to this girl, and she's going to tell us about a dungeon. But anyway, those runes determine, like, if you combine a certain combination of runes, it'll teach your character a skill that can then be learned by you having those items equipped in battle. So there's some pretty important skills that we have to learn, and one of them is actually on the items that we just got for free from this guy that introduces the system to us. Before we do that, we will have to get through part of this dungeon, but it's important to know that. I'm also going to pick up a might potion here. Might potions are also very important. They come in limited quantities in the beginning of the run, but might potions give you a huge boost to your damage. So that'll be one of the main ways I fight bosses while somewhat underleveled. This cutscene would introduce us to the seal stone system. So you can pick up seal stones in dungeons. They give you an effect, but when they're kind of like chalice or pedestal kind of things. When they're sitting in those chalice or pedestal things, they give the effect that you would normally have for just yourself if you're holding it. They give that effect to the whole dungeon area. So we want to pick up a few useful seal stones. I'm also going to do a puzzle right here. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, that didn't work. I'll try at least one more time. Okay, yeah. So you teleport the object right onto the switch it has to be on, and then you can ride the stairs up. So those crystals, which are the other thing that you get from fights, other than experience, those crystals are used to pay for seal stones, and they allow you to take seal stones outside of the dungeon that they originated in. So it's important to do that. Now, we just got a mercenary called Leon, and also Arngrim. if you've played Valkyrie Profile 1, you may recognize Arngrim. It's the same Arngrim. Now that actually doesn't make sense, really, but it's basically like when you die, you get reincarnated, and so this is like one of the other incarnations of Arngrim. That's how that works. Now, I entered a room that has a feature called a Divinity Void. It means I can't use crystals. So I picked up an item called the Earth Crystal in the... Oh, this is great. Okay, I see what's going on here. Hold on a second. Picked up an item called the Earth Crystal. And Earth Crystal will allow me to kill this enemy called a... Thunderbird or something, I think. Anyway, it can have good drops, but I can kill it instantly with a like Thunder Crystal. Now I can just position myself here. Earth Gem, Thunderhawk, yeah. Okay, so there's a special drop you can get here called a God. No, wait. Great Eagle's Heart. You can get from that fight, but I didn't get it. It would have been slightly better, so I'm going to have to pick up something else later now because of that, but it's totally fine. But most importantly, I got crystals from that, and I'm going to need those crystals in order to get this seal stone after the boss. So, before I do the boss, I want to edit my party. Remove Leon, and we're not gonna actually use these characters really. So what we're gonna do instead is we're just gonna steal all their equipment because why not? And we're gonna use it on the guys we're actually gonna use. We're now gonna equip, and here's where I'm going to put the accessories that I got from the one guy. And the pack chain, so I would have otherwise had to buy another item to get the pack chain's skill, but I was able to just use pack chain, and that teaches me Unholy Purifier, which I'll need for later. But the other skills I'm learning are Beast Bludgeon and Fists of Iron, which are both very useful. Fists of Iron is just generally useful because it just gives you bonus damage, but the other one, I can just... I can explain the other ones later. But Fist of Iron, very useful. Yeah, so I can say again, the disk messages are from the anti-cheat system, making it harder for the PS2 to interpret the game disk. I basically just took my disk out and rubbed it with a microfiber cloth, and hopefully that fixes the problem. You can never really say for certain whether this game will cooperate with you or not, but usually it works. Okay, so in this fight, this is a boss, but nice little thing you can do because of the positional battle system. You can actually just knock it off the edge and it dies instantly. Very easy, very nice. Yes, I believe this disk loading problem is actually common to some Tri-Ace. Like, more than one Tri-Ace game has this problem. I think Radiata Stories has it to a lesser capacity, but you can actually get, like, locked into a loading screen or something, so just one of those things. So I'm going to restore this seal stone so I can use it in other dungeons. That was what I needed to... You need to kill the boss fast enough to get enough crystals for that, which is important. Okay, so I've gotten an encounter I don't want. I'm just going to run away.
Would now be a good time to read a donation?
Yeah, I'm going to backtrack out of the dungeon, so that's okay.
Alright, So it looks like we did get a $25 donation from Naruto Uzumaki 26. It looks like they were from one of our foreign language restreams, and it translated to have a good for a good cause. Thanks for the restream. And we do just want to take a second to give a good shout out to our foreign language restreams, our German restream at twitch.tv/German, and our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. And if those restreams can help you enjoy the marathon, go check them out and send them some love, alright?
I'm still just gonna be running back to the beginning of the dungeon, so anything else if you want to read anything else.
So we do just want to remind everyone once again, this is for NAMI. Now NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and we're here supporting them. So they are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 pillars: education, support, awareness, and advocacy. Now, in terms of awareness, NAMI does participate in nationwide awareness opportunities like Mental Health Month, Suicide Prevention Month, and Mental Illness Awareness Week. NAMI has partnerships with a wide range of companies and organizations, such as Fox Sports and Google, that NAMI uses to get their name and mission in front of new audiences. So, if you were looking for a good reason to be giving us some donations, NAMI is an excellent one, but we do also have some incentives. There's a whole list of them, but some of the more recent ones that are coming up right shortly after this. So we are still taking. We are still looking to see if we can get some donations toward Half Minute Hero 2, the second coming of the Hero 3D mode. Oh wait, no, that one already met. Oh wait, no, we still need $50 on that. And then as well as the Aiden Chronicles, the First Mage Cheat Code Showcase. We're $79.59, but we need to meet 200 to get that showcase. All right, guys?
Okay, so I grabbed the Ram's Horn on the way out. That's basically a replacement for if you don't get the Great Eagle's Heart drop from the Thunderhawk enemy. But it's just an item that it boosts some damage that I do. It gives me more damage. We're gonna drop in very quickly on Vilnor here, just to hear about a dungeon, and then we're gonna immediately leave. And then we're gonna head to the dungeon that we just heard about. This is a very short dungeon, not too much to worry about here. Oh, missed that teleport. Yeah, there's not much to this dungeon. So I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to read, but now would probably be a decent time for it.
Sure, let me see. So we do have a couple of prizes that are available during this block currently. If you donate a minimum of $5, you will be entered to potentially win an East Origin Steam key or a White Legacy 16 wired USB controller. Now, let's see. The first prize, Steam Key, is donated by Ghost Kumo, and that second prize is donated by Retrobit Gaming. And if you are interested in retro gaming, Retrobit Gaming does, you can follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Retrobit Gaming, or you can go to their website, retro-bit.com.
Okay, so if you remember, I talked to Mitra right after I released him. And after talking to him, he gave me an item. We're going to use that item on the boss. And, well, you'll see what happens, but unfortunately, Mitra will only give you one of this item, which you can get at any point in the early game, but if you wanted another one, you'd have to wait all the way to the end game, which is kind of unfortunate, but... Alright, let's see if we can do this real quick. Pretty impressive looking boss, right? Well, now this is happening. Holy Water of Mitra does, I believe it's 10,000 damage. So you kill the boss instantly by using the Holy Water of Mitra. Unfortunately, you can't get another one until it's too late to be useful, but pretty good item, in my opinion. Alright, so we're gonna actually... Okay, I guess can't remove the person in front. We're gonna let Krad go now. He's a high enough level. But we're gonna go right back to Vilnor and we're gonna talk to Krad, because that's where he's gone after we have released him. But he's done his duty for us. Thankfully, we didn't get Roland. I mean, I would have just loaded a save if we'd gotten Roland, but thankfully we didn't get Roland. So we'll get our reward from Krad, and this is actually the most important part. So the difference between Krad and Roland is that so when you release an Einherjar, right, you can talk to them in the world, and they'll usually give you something if you can find them somewhere in the world. Now, Krad, you'll see the reward Krad gives you this, but it's a sword called the Kradicator, which is quite a good sword. Gives a lot of damage and has 2 attacks on it, which weapons have up to 3 different attacks on them, and you can select those attacks in the menu. But wait a minute, did I skip? No, I didn't. No, I did skip something. So they have up to 3 attacks on them, and so Kradicator has 2 attacks and it's very powerful. It's a really good sword. Now, Roland, however, is he just gives you money. He gives you $50,000, I believe, which might seem pretty good, but it's not. Like, the only weapon you can buy with that $50,000 is fairly weak and not very effective. So the difference between Krad and Roland, like that weapon is a pretty big deal. So I'm gonna go into the armory here and I'm gonna buy a Walloon sword and a map of the Westlands. So I'm gonna need that Walloon sword for an upcoming boss, but the map of the Westlands allows me to fast travel to anywhere in the Westlands. So there are 3 maps: the Westlands, Northlands, or no, and Eastlands, I think. Anyway, we want to get all these maps eventually when we can. But yeah, we dropped in on Krad and we got the Kradicator, and that's pretty good. Oops. We're just going to take care of some shopping here before we get to the next transitional area. That'll move us from the Westlands to the Eastlands. I'm going to grab some money that's hidden in a few areas just to make sure I have enough. So in this shop, we would buy the item that the Pact Chain lets you not have to buy. So instead, So we would normally buy blue bronze mirror. Instead, we can skip buying the blue bronze mirror and we can instead buy 3 barrel bracelets. 1 apothecary's arcanum for later. And as many union plumes as we can afford, which I can only afford 1, so that's pretty bad. Hopefully that doesn't cause problems later. It shouldn't, ideally, but we'll see. So yeah, we'll be going to the Eastlands now. We talked to that guy next to the merchant, and he tells us about the volcano, and so now we're going to go to the volcano. I don't know if there's anything. This is a good filler spot for any kind of anything you want to read.
Let me see what we got here.
Uh-oh.
Well, there are no new donations currently, but we do have some bid wars that are coming up for Half Minute Hero 2. There is a naming bid war for Yusa, and right now it's $30 for Doe Wolf plus, versus $1 for Hercules. Let's see for Half Minute Hero 2, we have coming up the naming bid war for Yuja. Right now, Applesauce is winning with $5, and Hercule is trailing at 1. They'll also have a name for Yushia, and right now it's just Hercule. For Aiden Chronicles, the first main character name, right now it's winning $50 at Nami. Followed by $5 for Poirot and $1 for Hercule.
Okay, so we arrived at the volcano. Funny enough, I don't know about you, but I feel like if I stepped in lava, my legs would immediately catch fire and I would die horribly. That doesn't happen here. You can stand in the lava just fine. It does cause damage, but, you know, we don't need to worry about that. We're going to collect an archer here. We got Arcana. And so the main traversing puzzle of this dungeon is we're looking to break 2 parts of, like, we're looking to break rubble on both sides of a pillar, and this will give us access to the boss. So we're gonna break the first half here. And then we'll loop around to the other side of the pillar and break the other part. I mean, you know, you could just, you know, if this weren't a 2D game, I could just move around the pillar, but, you know, sometimes that's just what happens, you know? Right, so I land right in the lava, and I'm fine. Boots, not even charred. So there is a chest up here, and we want this chest. But we don't want what's in the chest, we just want to breathe in those glorious toxic fumes. Thank you, Jesus. And just huff that stuff right up our nose. Really nice. Poisons everyone in the party. But very good because if you remember, the black crystal gives us extra statistics if you have a status ailment, and so having poison is really good for that. And that's one of the easiest ways to get poison, is just to open the chest with a trap in it. So we don't need what's in the chest, because that doesn't do anything for us. I mean, it's just some kind of sword. Who needs that? But we can poison ourselves, and quite effective. Okay, so this boss coming up used to be the hardest boss in the game. It's now a lot easier, because it used to be really, really hard, but I believe it was Close to War developed a new strategy for it, and he did a great job with the new combo. So now it's not so bad anymore. It's eminently possible. We're also going to pick up another Might Potion here and swap around some Seal Stones. Again, Might Potion's very limited quantity in the early game, but becomes much more available in the late game. So we're going to have to try our best with the limited amount of Might Potions we have now. Okay, so these items that boost our stats, I got from releasing the Einherjar, and now we just have to swap around a few things. Blue Soul Flame for Ram's Horn. Heal Destroyed. Heal Destroyed. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's not good. Whoops. Hilder's Sword. Wallen's Sword. I must be one shy. In order to learn a skill, you have to fight battles. For some reason, I did not get the skill, though. I'm not really sure why I haven't learned the skill I need. So we'll try to get it here with a few fights. This is unfortunately going to be pretty slow, but range that I don't have the skill. But I can just fight a few fights and then I can pick it up.
Well, if now's a good time, then I do have a couple of donations that just came in.
Well, I actually did just get the skill. I was one battle short. But I think save them up, because there's another part coming up really soon after this, and then that'll be a good time for it.
Sure thing.
I'm just going to quickly go through a menu here now that I have the skills. So I use the stat boosting items. Now I can unequip this and get the Ram's Horn, which will boost my stats. And I can replace the other stuff with barrel bracelets. We want to get Fists of Iron on Alicia for later as well. That'll be pretty important for later in the game. Don't need anything on Leon. Skill-wise, we want Fists of Iron on Dylan. That's very important, which I had to get that skill. And Leon comes with Spirit Control. This is also important for the combo that I'm going to do on the boss. Now, Eradicator, I want to keep it on Absolute Strike Heavyweight. If you're going for a slightly faster but less safe combo, you're going to want double strike instead of heavyweight. But I'm going for a safer version, so I can keep it on heavyweight. We're not actually going to use Arngrim for anything other than restoring our AP, so that's his equipment is all fine. Alright, so we're going to go into the boss here. Now, the first phase of the boss, because there's 2 phases, first phase of the boss is not too bad. However, I did forget to change my party around in the Surdberg Ruins, which is the place that had the Drake for the boss. So I may be a little bit under-leveled, which shouldn't really matter all that much, but I might be a little shy on damage ranges. Again, shouldn't be a problem, but we'll see here. We'll be able to see immediately, because if I am good on damage, I'll kill this guy with 2 attack strengths. If I'm not good on damage, I will miss by just a little bit. Okay, so I need to break his left arm here to get Pyrotechnic Orb, which I did. Okay, we're good. So getting the direct assault there gets us a Flare Gem, which is important for the Hydra boss fight, which is coming up after this one. It's the next boss after this one. So phase 1, not too bad. You can get some bad luck, and he can dodge your attack randomly sometimes and just kill you, but usually it's not too bad. So here we're gonna want to position Alicia away from the others, dash over here. We want to move Arngrim over here. So we actually still have 2 teams, but they're acting as 3 teams, which is good. We use an overdrive that lets us it makes stuff cost less AP, so every time you attack it doesn't cost as much AP, which is like basically the amount of points you have for doing stuff. We're going to use a might potion here. And you might notice when I was recovering from the overdrive, I just tapped the stick button, which allows you to recover menu access a little bit faster. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move in a little closer with Alicia, and then we're going to change her team, and this will get these guys to move over without having to cost us any AP. Then we dash behind in one motion here. Positioning is not great here, but we should still be okay. And then we use Arngrim here. He dashes into the attack. When he dies, that will restore our AP to maximum, so it'll allow us to do the combo that we want to do with less effort. We select whoever is the most behind, and then we try and do this combo here. 1, 2, 1, 2, triangle. 1, 2, triangle. And then we should kill. Good. Good! Okay, so, and that gets us a direct assault, which gets us a second flare gem. And the second flare gem will be useful again for the Hydra. So, getting a direct assault on that boss, it's actually fairly difficult. With this particular strat, it's safe and pretty much guarantees the direct assault, but if you're going for a little bit more speed, you're going to use a different strategy that is a little more dangerous. And that's the one that uses double swing. That doesn't use Arngrim to get full AP, so it's a little bit faster, but it's more dangerous. So we're just going to go to a town, get information on the next dungeon, and then we're going to go do a few things in the next dungeon. So those donations, now would be a good time for the donation.
All right. So we do have $5 donation from Defensier. It just says smiley face. Well, smiley face right back at you. We also have a donation from Bill the Conqueror. It's $25. It has no comment, but they did put it towards the Liam cutscene and Lost Odyssey. And I do believe that puts us pretty close to being up there. Yep, it just needs $15 more, and we'll meet that $200 incentive. And then finally, we do have a $10 donation from Copper Stallion that says, "Best of luck, Cass. I know you're gonna smash it. I'll be here watching."
Copper. I actually have so here's another thing that's just great about this game. If you skip a cutscene too fast, which is hard to do, but it is possible. If you skip a cutscene too fast, you can crash a game. Just wonderful feature of this game. Perfect, right up there with the disc errors. But I have actually skipped the cutscene at the beginning of that town before, and it crashed a game, and I had to redo Evolver. This was during practice, so it's not too bad, but if you are playing the game casually, be careful. Just be vigilant. So the main gimmick with this dungeon is that you have to use seal stones. You have to pick up seal stones and put them in some of the kind of chalice or altar things that are scattered around the dungeon. And when you have 3 seal stones in the chalices, it will reveal the way to the boss. So we have to come all the way back here and put the Sword Blessing seal stone that we picked up in the other dungeon into this chalice. That's one. One chalice is actually already done for you. And the third we'll get from picking up another seal stone. Yes, but I don't remember how to pronounce that word. I always forget. Is it Dais? Deus? Anyway. We'll also pick up an item right next to the seal stone. Okay, interesting. We'll pick up an item right next to the seal stone that will be good for a boss in the next dungeon. I also bought one of those items, the Apothecary's Arcanum. They just restore health, but it's important that you have those for the one boss because you can be tanking some damage, and that's good to have a backup. Wow. So once we put this in, you get a small cutscene, and it's going to... Oh dear. Let me just run from this encounter. It's going to poison the water in the swamp. Good. So if you died during the Evolver fight, which is possible, you can get poisoned from the water instead. You know, just to get the bonus from the Black Crystal again, if you had to revive. It's good to have Alicia poisoned for something, or for when she becomes the main character that you use for damage later in the game. There's also another good reason to get poisoned, but I'll explain that after the next dungeon. So here's the part that unlocks this pathway unlocks with when you have all the 3 seal stones. So for this next boss, we're going to just remove everyone from the party. You don't need anyone but Dylan. Yeah, and his equipment's all fine. So if you didn't get the direct assault on Evolver 2, the second form Evolver, you would need to use a Might Potion, which, as I had said before, the Might Potions are in short supply, so that's not ideal. But with a direct assault on Evolver 2, you can instead just use 2 Flare Crystals, and you don't have to worry about the Might Potion, so that's very nice. Hydra actually has a very high turn speed, so you want to be a little careful here. Wedge yourself right here in between his leg and his back. Use a Flare Crystal. And much the same as the Tentacle boss earlier in the game, we look at the HP bar for the threshold here, so we want to put the damage at the H of leader HP. And then we can use the second Flare Crystal and kill him and get a direct assault. Things that can go wrong there are if you feint the boss, and this has happened to me before, and it made me like confused for like half an hour. If you feint the boss and you hit his neck instead of his back, you won't have done enough damage to his back to kill him, and so when you use the Flare Crystal, it actually won't kill him. So that just goes to show how important hitting a particular part of an enemy's body is. I did just get struck by lightning there, but don't worry about that. We're fine. Yeah, so it shows how important it is to hit a particular part of an enemy's body, because if you deal enough damage to a particular part, you can break that part, and if it happens to be a crucial part of that enemy's body, like their head, it kills them instantly, and you can like win fights much easier. And so for things like the Hydra, that's very important. It was also important for the first boss. So we'll just go into the Palace of the Venerated Dragon here. And so we'll be going through these catacombs for a bit. But yeah, if there's anything other donations or anything, now's good enough time. Otherwise, I can keep rambling on about game mechanics.
Let me see real quick. Right. So I'm not seeing any new donations, but I do just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our logo and promotional banner artist Kevin. You can find him on Twitter at KButzCorner. It's KBUTZKORNER. He has done all the artwork since the first Question for Glory in 2017. So if you want to go check him out, I'm sure he'd love that.
Awkward positioning with that swap there. Right, so we're starting to get to the point in the game where I could actually fight some enemies. I mean, so it's not ideal, but especially once I get to Alicia, the point where I'm using Alicia as my main damage dealer, you can more reasonably fight enemies instead of having to just like run away from them, which I might do for a few enemies in the Forest of Spirits, but generally I will still try to avoid combat because I mean it's not ideal. So the gimmick in this dungeon is you collect stones. If you've played Valkyrie Profile 1 and you've gone to the Palace of the Venerated Dragon in that game, it's called something different, I think. It might just be Palace of the Dragon in Valkyrie Profile 1, but if you played that, you know how this works. But basically you pick up some stones that are labeled with some fancy titles, and you put this stone into statue, and then the statue will warp you to a different part of the palace. And that's the gimmick here, is you just want to get all these stones to get to the different parts of the palace. The statues, there are some moving statues in the palace that will warp you back to a room filled with poison. So if you somehow died on the way to Palace of the Venerated Dragon, that's another good place to get poison. Like if Alicia died somehow and you revive her and you don't have any poison, here's another good place for poison. I'm going to get an item here in the poison room, because I'm actually going to use the warping to save me a little bit of time, but I'm going to get an item in the poison room here called the Charge Break, which is a series staple, I believe, but it fills your AP bar at the cost of health. I might be using that in a few fights. I mean, that one obviously I can only use once, but you can buy them later. So much like might potions, they're in short supply, but you can use them later. I did get confused, which just reverses my controls. Not a big deal. It fades away after a certain amount of time. Each section of Palace of the Dragon kind of has its own gimmick, like on top of the stone gimmick. So this section has a gimmick that's the same as the swamp, where I need to put a seal stone into a what is it, dais, an altar, and it will unlock the door for me. And then I'm going to need to do a forced fight with some kind of, what is it called, a butcher enemy? I can't remember what it's called. It's like some kind of butcher enemy. It's a dude with 4 arms. Anyway, I gotta kill that guy. Oh, and I'm getting tri-aced. This load screen is taking far longer than it actually needs to, so I'm getting tri-aced. It's taking forever to load. But yeah, I need to kill that guy and to get the next stone. So yeah, that is one thing you have to remember with this game, is that for some reason you can just you can just lose multiple seconds to literally nothing. Just the nature of the game. I'm going to pick up a seal stone here called Wrath of Forcefulness. So for the rest of the dungeon, we're not going to be using any weapons. You don't need weapons with Wrath of Forcefulness. Wrath of Forcefulness gives you so much damage that you can actually just attack with no weapon at all, and it does pretty good damage. I think my voice is starting to go. Let me drink some water. Okay, so there's 3 formations that you can get for this fight. This is one of the better ones, hopefully, if I don't mess this up. There are 2 other formations, one with like 2 lantern type enemies. That's not too good, but it's the most common one. It's fine. It's not a bad formation. There's one that has 2 kind of I don't know what they're called, but they're like floating fairy enemies. That's the absolute worst one, and you don't want to see that one. And then there's this, which is 3. What are these called? Muscular Stalker. Okay, it must be another enemy later in the game that looks the same. That's called Butcher. But anyway, you want a direct assault on this fight. Now I use the overdrive that I picked up in the volcano. That's totally optional. You don't need to pick up that overdrive. But I use it on this fight to make it easier. And you need a direct assault because when you get a direct assault on the muscular stalker enemy, it gives you a might potion. And as I have repeatedly said, might potions are in short supply and they're very important. So we need the direct assault. So if you miss the direct assault on that fight, you do have to either load a save or reset. There's not a lot of options. Now, if you missed the might potion from because you had to use the extra might potion on the Hydra, or if you missed the direct assault on the muscular stalker, but you did get both. You did get both flare gems from the Volver. You can pick up an extra might potion. Oh, great. After you use the painted cloudstone, there's one might potion that's in a chest that you can pick up. And I did accidentally touch that statue, so I got warped to the poison room again. But to the right here, well, I guess my commentary is delayed, but to the right of the exit of the painted clouds room, you can get an extra might potion. Costs you about 30 seconds to pick it up, but it's a good backup if you are looking to, like, if you failed the direct assault. Okay, so now I can actually use the warp to save myself some time backtracking to the statue room. Let's see. I think this is the one that I have to do the jump for. Yes, so for some chests in this game, a little too late there. There's some pretty technical puzzles. This isn't too technical, but the puzzles can get pretty technical with how you're supposed to do some of the swaps with the crystals. I think I failed. Yeah. So I need this item that's across here, and unfortunately, it's a pretty tight window. Okay, there we go. Here's another poison if you need it, but I've already been poisoned like 5 times, so. Okay, so did I pick up the item? I did pick up the item. So in the one room with the 2 moving statues, I picked up an item called a Tome of Alchemy. This is another series staple, but it basically just allows me to kill an enemy instantly and turn him into an item or crystals. So we can finish this off instantly with the Tome of Alchemy. And instead of backtracking all the way through the Divinity Void, you can just warp back up here and go right to the Crimson Flamestone. So we picked up a Power Bangle, which is a really good item for boosting your attack power. Again, we're just going to use Dylan for this fight. So we replace a Barrel Bracelet with the Power Bangle, and one of the skills that we got earlier in the game from the Pact Chain, or it would have been the Blue Bronze Mirror, otherwise is Unholy Purifier, and that's going to give a lot of damage versus the enemy that we're about to fight, which is a zombie dragon. Unholy Purifier gives me the extra damage against undead, so that'll be really good for this fight. And it's basically necessary in order to do enough damage to kill this guy fast enough. There's a drop that you get from killing this boss. If you break his collarbone, so I need to break his collarbone. Now, a key thing with this is that the drop is only 60%, so if I don't get it after 2 tries, which is unlikely, but if I don't get it after 2 tries, I will load a save again, because that's like just pure RNG. It is, you know, a favorable drop chance. over 50%, but this drop is completely necessary for the run, and I have to get it. So it's the Dragon Rib is what I'm looking for. So I do have good damage, so that means I got good level ups. I need the Dragon Rib here. And the Dragon Rib is the other reason why I needed... Oh wow, this damage is actually not good though. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, my damage is a little low on the actual boss itself, but so I can do one strike. Here, he's over half. And then I should be able to do this and kill him. So I did not get the Dragon Rib, so I'm going to have to reload. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but... right, the Dragon Rib is the other reason that you need poison, because poison lowers your health to 1, and it won't kill you, but it will always lower your health to 1. So poison is really good to have because the Dragon Rib gives you bonuses to your stats based on how low your HP is. So if your HP is below 1/3, it will give you the bonuses. If it's above 1/3, you get nothing from the Dragon Rib. So having poison is pretty crucial. My damage is really good on these orbs, but for some reason when I fight the boss, it's low. I'm not sure why that is. I do have Unholy Purifier equipped, so it's just weird. I mean, it's still possible to kill him. It's not that low. Alright, try number 2. Right, and I use the Apothecary's Arcanum here because if he has the wrong... Oh, I didn't have an orb broken? Weird. Okay, so, alright, so this attack I can't dodge. So I have to have the Apothecary's Arcanum there so that I can actually tank that hit and not worry about it. Oh yeah, okay, my damage is much higher this time. I don't know how I missed an orb. Weird. Foul stench. And I died anyway. Well, try number 3. So this is a good reason why, you know... Now, I've made it through pretty much all the bosses up to this point. You know, for the most part, not too bad. Wow. I'm stupid? Oh, well. Good. Whoops. Pro tip, don't skip the orbs. But yeah, so this is a good example of how when you're fighting bosses, things can go wrong really easily. It's kind of a miracle I even made it through most of the bosses without too much trouble. But it's very common for things to go horribly wrong. And there are some bosses later in the game where it's... Well, I think one in particular that I'm thinking of that it's pretty easy. Okay, so here's one of the situations where I want to heal first. Because he's not changing his attack. He uses Foul Stench. And then I can hit this. And then I... Oh. Oops. And then I use the Apothecary's Arcanum again. Or I would, but it's not letting me for some reason. Single card. Oh, I have Frailty. That's right. Frailty is a status effect that makes it so you can't heal. Okay, so I just have to hope that he doesn't kill me here. Good. Good. Dragon Rib. Okay. All right, we're good. We're through it. We made it through. We got the Dragon Rib. 60% drop. We can continue now. And yeah, you might be thinking to yourself, this isn't so bad or something, but you do have to keep in mind that if anything in combat touches me for pretty much the entire run, I die instantly because I have no health. Now, this is not to say that it's like the greatest feat imaginable, but you do remember some of the strats end up being pretty dangerous. Because you have no health. So I picked up an armor, a green armor. And the rune on that armor is very important. We'll be using it pretty soon. I also picked up Expert's Experience, which is an item you can use to... It's basically just like a rare candy or something. It just gives you experience. And nothing else, which is good because it levels you up. The Expert's Experience is actually particularly useful because once you get an Einherjar, you can feed them an Expert's Experience and then immediately release them most of the time, which I'll be doing later in the game. But it allows you to not have to grind them up to a high enough level to release them. Now, am I lucky or unlucky? Lucky. Okay, good. Sometimes when falling down there, that one flying guy will be in exactly the wrong position and you'll get an encounter. So what am I doing now? I'm just returning to the one grind spot. So if there's anything you want to read, donations or anything, now's another decent time for it.
Sure. So we don't have any donations to read at the moment, but I am more than happy to give y'all some more NAMI facts. So via their 48 state offices and more than 650 affiliates, NAMI offers a host of signature programs, presentations, and support groups that are available free of charge. This includes a national helpline that provides information, resources, and a compassionate, understanding, trained volunteer to support anyone who calls in. These programs reach more than 300,000 people a year and are a life-changing opportunity for education, connection, support, and personal growth.
Okay, so I actually glazed over this, but right, going back to the plot. So we were searching for the Dragon Orb. We found it in the Palace of the Dragon. And then, turns out Leon was frisked the whole time. Real Eben betrayal. And she steals the Dragon Orb for the gods. Now we lose, and it's all going downhill. Real fast. No breaks. So yeah, Leon not only betrays us and steals the Dragon Orb, she also kills Arngrim and makes him her own Einherjar, so she steals him away too. So if you were invested in Arngrim, oops. But we don't use him, so no worries there. But he's gone, and also Leon is also gone. So now it's just Alicia and Rufus. Rufus, I didn't even explain Rufus, but you meet him at the beginning of the game, and he's with you for pretty much the whole game. He's a good buddy. He's a good pal. He's a green-haired archer. So now we also have gotten news, or I don't remember how we find out, but somehow we find out that, oh yeah, it turns out Frist, she's a real meanie, and she's gonna go blow up your entire hometown. Remember Deepan? Well, it won't be around for very long. So now we're going to go back to Deepan and we're like, we can try and stop her. But before we can do that, we have to actually make it to Deepan. And here's where things get a bit funky. This is one of the more difficult sections of the game. We have to move a few equips around. The Dragon Rib now. That's fine. Skills, we switch Unholy Purifier to Beast Bludgeon. We're going to be farming some items off of some monsters in this area. The monsters are now changed from what they used to be, so we can farm some good items off of them. We need to farm some accessories for specific skills, and this is where the green armor that we got from the Dragon Palace comes in handy. We need it to learn a specific skill. We also need to make sure to pick up this Einherjar, because after this event we won't be able to get Einherjar anymore. We need to make sure we get this one before we leave this area. Jessica? Oh, sulfide. Oh, disappointing. Totally meaningless what Einherjar you get from these particular drops. I just like some of them more than the others. Okay, interesting. Not what I wanted. Okay, so this is the enemy we want to grind. And of course it gave me enemy advantage. Nice, dude. Well, that's why you save the game before you do the grind. Excellent. Just what I wanted for Christmas. Right, so it is dangerous. Again, I'm at 1 health. If I get enemy advantaged, bad things can happen. But essentially, from that one particular encounter, we're looking for, there are 4 different formations you can get. You can get a single Beast Fort, which is the ideal one, and a Beast Fort basically looks the same as the first boss. So that's the ideal formation, is just a single Beast Fort. You can also get a Beast Fort and a Lizard Man. That's the other best one. You can also get a bunch of Lizard Men. This is still okay. It's not great, but it's doable. You know, all Lizard Men is it's okay. Or you can get a bunch of trash, and that does happen sometimes. There's not much you can do about it. Getting the trash encounter is not really any good. You can't get any drops off on it, and it kind of sucks. Okay, so I got Evergreen Scales. That's the accessory I need to drop, so I can finish this encounter. I am going to grind for a particular accessory that you can only get off of Beast Forts. Because you can get a backup. Oh, whoops. You can get a backup for this accessory later, but you only get 1 chance at it later, and I would rather not risk going without this crucial skill. So I want the Beast Fort encounter. So this is not good luck. One thing that is interesting here, it's not really common that you use this, but actually I can set up and get the hold on, I can get the skill that I need, which is Solitary Struggle. So hold on, just quickly re-equip here. What was I saying? Evergreen Scales and Pyrotechnic Ore. This dropped off of the Evolver, so that's like real combination of things that you need. That's like really, really crucial to get Solitary Struggle, which is a skill that the more people that you have on your team that are dead, the higher the stat bonuses become. This is really unlucky. So remember that I said there are 4 different formations, and uh, 2 out of 4, aka 1 out of 2, are Beast Fort encounters. So I have 50-50 chance to get Beast Fort, and I'm not getting any Beast Forts, so this is not good luck. But right, I'm looking for an accessory from the Beast Fort called an Assault Missile. Okay, now I got the Trash encounter. Right, well, I'll give this a few more tries. Worst comes to worst, again, I'll load a save. I don't really want to do that, though, if I can avoid it. I really just want to get this Beast Fort encounter. Okay, there's a Beast Fort. Now there's a setup here we can do where if you get roughly 45 degrees, initiate with Lazard, and when the circle disappears, there, I got the Assault Missile. Okay, so I got the Assault Missile on the first try, that's good. Essentially, I want the Assault Missile because it gives me a skill called Magician Slayer, and that skill is basically necessary for the last boss. It's not actually necessary, but the last boss becomes much easier if you have the Assault Missile. So I just wanted to quickly get that before moving on. Since again, you cannot repeatedly grind for the Assault Missile later in the game. You can only really do it here. Okay, so this boss is quite difficult to do right. I screw up this boss all the time, and I actually saved before I did the setup for him, so that's not good. So I have Solitary Struggle now, that's good. Go back to Black Crystal, Ram's Horn. Yeah, so I have to make sure to equip Solitary Struggle, because if I don't get it. I gotta remember that. Switch Alicia's attacks. Mirage Pierce becomes turnaround first. Equip Restock. Okay. Oh, and something crucial here. So basically the strategy for this boss, sort of, is you're going to knock him into the air and then bash him onto the ground with Dylan. So you knock him into the air with Alicia and bash him onto the ground with Dylan. Now, something that's very important to note here is that if Alicia is too low leveled or has too low attack, she actually does 0 damage. And if she does 0 damage, it doesn't knock the boss up into the air. So you do have to level her up here using the Expert's Experience, and you can see how much of a difference it makes, because Dylan has been fighting all of the fights this entire game, and he's level 23. I used 2 Expert's Experience on Alicia, who has fought basically 0 fights, and she leveled up immediately to level 22. So that's how much of a difference the Expert's Experience makes. It's a very useful item. Dash behind him, and then we get rid of these guys, because Solitary Struggle again depends on how many people are dead. It is important that they are dead, and not just not there. So it's so you get the extra damage. Actually, I'm going to use the charge break here. I'm going to back off a bit. There we go. 1, 2. You can see he bounces. Okay, 3 and 4. If I'm going to use the charge break, it doesn't matter. You can see he bounces. Every time he bounces, he actually gets more. He drops like crystals that give you more AP, so you can attack more if he bounces. Now let's see how I'm going to do this here. 1, 2, 3. Just fill the bar and full crush, and he dies. Good. That wasn't perfect, but it achieved what I wanted, and we got him. It's pretty easy to screw up getting the ground bounce, but it's important, like it's really important to get the ground bounce because that gives you a lot more AP to work with if you get the ground bounce. And essentially what's happening there is if you are attacking an enemy that's in the air, that is the condition that you need for the enemy to drop like extra crystals and the special crystals that give you extra AP. Pick up the sword blessing here. Right, so we've arrived in Dipan. Christ has come in here and wrecked up the place. You know, that's not good, but there's not a lot we can do about it. I'm just going to quickly pick up a couple union plumes and swap my party around to set up for the next fight here. Okay. But yeah, she wrecked up the place, and now she's going to execute your dad. So yeah, that's not good. But yeah, so from this point on, a lot of fights in the game, well, with Ol, which is the last fight that I just did, but with that fight and forwards, most of the fights in the game get pretty finicky and very picky about what you do. And they can go wrong very quickly. So if I take deaths, it's going to be mostly from this point on. I can take a lot of deaths. This should be chaotic rune, yeah. Which is bad. Oh, never mind. Maybe it's not so bad. Well, it is bad because she's not dead. And if you remember what I was just saying, I need people to be dead in order to get the bonus for them. So this is actually not good, but we'll see what we can do here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I messed up. Damn, she didn't do any damage. Whatever, we can still get him. It's fine, it's fine. Okay. Now something interesting here. Because she's still alive. Something interesting that... We'll see if we can get this. Okay, yeah. So this is a nice little strat you can do if you got a Holy Gem drop. You can silence him by using a Holy Gem. I don't think you can do this for the Red Mage, but you can silence him using a Holy Gem. And if you silence him using a Holy Gem, he can't do anything because pretty much all of his attacks are magic. So, okay, that's not magic though. That's the one attack he can do that's not magic. I do need Dylan, so we'll revive him. But yeah, you can silence this guy, and he can't really do anything, which is pretty funny. And then you can just beat the hell out of him, and he's gone. He does have the physical attack, which, you know, that's not good. But yeah, you don't want. So as long as you can take care of the red mage first, you're good. Okay, so now we move on, and we actually get to fight Hrist. She's the next boss. And this is basically the turning point for the run where things get really weird. If you invested very heavily in Dylan, you're gonna have a bad time after this point on. Because after this fight, Dylan leaves us. And we will only have Alicia. But it's okay, because Alicia is also pretty strong. Her arms may be thin like noodles, but they are tough like steel wires, if you see what I'm saying. Oh, jeez. Went up to right up to level 15 in one fight. Absolutely crazy. Give me someone who's dead. There we go. Since it is actually important that I'm actually gonna save again just to fix that, but yeah, it is actually important that the extra party members be dead because that gives you more damage. So because we use the expert's experience on Alicia, she's actually pretty solidly good on stats, but unfortunately she has no weapon, so that isn't any good. So we're gonna use a might potion on Dylan to start the fight. We're gonna get Arngrim close enough you can sniff his nose hairs. And then, okay, let me see if I remember this. I did literally look at my notes for this fight just before I started this run, so. Triple, single, okay. Well, let's try this. 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, and then this, and then Soul Crush, and we got her. We got her. Okay, good. Good. That can go very poorly if you get the positioning wrong. Okay, but we got her with the Soul Crush. The invisible hand of the free market. Right, so basically what happened, there was some kind of crazy thing that went on. Hrist used the thing that was going to separate Alicia and Silmeria from each other. And then that didn't happen. But then it did happen. And so now Silmeria is gone. And so is Hrist is also gone. And Lazard actually, turns out Lazard was a bad guy. And so now he's gone. And actually, turns out Brahms, the Lord of the Undead, Brahms. Turns out Dylan was actually Brahms the whole time, but not really because it was Dylan, but Brahms was like. You ever seen that movie Alien, where the alien bursts out of his chest? It was like that. Brahms was inside of Dylan, and then he came out during that cutscene, and now Brahms is also gone. So now we got nothing. It's just Rufus and Alicia, and that's all we got left. And whoever it was that you managed to pick up along the way. So basically, a lot of things went wrong there. Hrist got away. Lazard is evil and betrayed us, and Dylan is dead. And so now we're thinking to ourselves, well, what the heck? What do we do now? And I think Rufus is the one to suggest, why don't we just go kill the gods? It's that easy. Just do it. And Alicia is like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So now we're off to go fight the gods. We're going to go to Asgard and ask them to not be evil anymore. Seems good. So, in order to do that, we're going to head to the Forest of Spirits, where there is the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost that will take us to Asgard. So we got to get through the Forest of Spirits and get to the Rainbow Bridge. Now, of course, before we do this, we gotta, we gotta fix up Alicia. She's actually pretty strong right now, but not quite steel cables, but pretty strong. So more like I don't know. I don't know. What's in between steel cables and wet noodles? We're gonna buy her some good stuff so that she's quite strong. So we're gonna pick up some union plumes, pick up some charge breaks, might potions, which you can now buy. They're no longer in short supply. Overdrives, map of the Northlands, map of the Westlands. That's a good one. Nylon rope. Not quite as strong as steel cable, but she's halfway there. We're just gonna buy as many union plumes as we can carry because who knows what could go wrong. Probably not that many things that are bad, but oh yes, that's correct. Yes, Rufus says turning into a god. Right, because they get some kind of legend or something about going to the top of what is it? Yggdrasil, the world tree, and then when you get to the top of Yggdrasil, there's just a crystal that you can, I don't know, eat and become a god or something because he's like half elf. It all makes sense, sort of. Rufus is a half elf. So he's like, yeah, dude, I just become a god. I mean, sure. That sounds like a plan. So we gotta get through this Forest of Spirits. Now, I'm gonna be doing a few things here to try and avoid encounters, but if I do inevitably take encounters here, which I will have to take at least one encounter, I do have a Tome of Godspeed as well. I picked that up from, oh dear, the bird. Yeah, so see, I got this encounter. This is a bad encounter, so we're going to use Tome of Godspeed to get away. Tome of Godspeed just lets you escape from a fight immediately. Unfortunately for this particular fight, I didn't start in a good place, but if you do start in a good place for that fight, you can actually just kill the enemy, and it's not a problem. Which I think I'll do the next time I'm here. So we use Tome of Godspeed to escape here. This guy is on a slope, so you can just jump over him. And another mechanic that you can use here is you have some iframes. If you're blinking after you escape. And you can use those to just maneuver around enemies if you are having trouble with some of them. Okay. So we're almost there, but we're gonna fight a boss right in front of the path to the Rainbow Bridge called Eric Terrace. He is annoying and terrible, and this can go very wrong, so hopefully it doesn't. But first, use an expert's experience on Alicia. Equip her with the Lotus Slicer that we just bought, which will boost her attack quite a bit. Now keep in mind, she started from what, like, so 185. At 185 attack, Ram's Horn is 196. Power Bangle is 254, so that's crazy, the boost the Power Bangle gives. And then Dragon Rib is 274, but it gives other stat bonuses as well. So all those combined, you get quite a strong character. And I believe I want this. I did not do Solitary Struggle, did I? Right, I never grinded it on her. Okay, so I have to quickly go get that. It only takes one fight, so it's not a big problem. Fire Technicore. I did just realize I didn't get that. I forgot to get it because normally I would get it during the grind, but I didn't. But this is fine. Alicia's quite strong now. So what we can do is actually just... Okay. I didn't switch her attacks. But despite being quite strong... What am I hitting? Oh my god, dude. This is pretty annoying. Oh, good. They're all dead. That's actually good. I get more damage for that. Provided I can actually kill this guy. Well, I need at least one of them to be alive for Eric Terrace. Dude. Okay, I'm not having a great time with this fight. This is why you don't forget to get the skills you're looking for. Really. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable, actually. You know what? I can't do this with this attack set. I've just wasted my time. So welcome to Let's Play Valkyrie Profile. Mirage Pierce. And not in Pierce, actually should be Cutting Edge. Okay, now we're set up for Eric Terrace. Well, I guess that's a good example of how your attacks really matter. Because if you have the wrong attack, you won't do any damage. And it also can make things quite awkward for you. It's fine though. So if you mean did I not get Zund in terms of the Zund route? The Zund route is way more luck based than all the other routes, and so I don't use that route for a marathon run. World Record does use the Zund route, but which is significantly different from the Alicia route, but I wouldn't do that for a marathon run because it's very luck based. Okay, one last thing to do is use a Union Plume on literally anyone. It doesn't matter who you use it on. You just need one person who's alive. I don't believe there are any backups for the Zund route. You basically just hope to luck or noob your way through the whole game. And if you do it right, which takes a lot of skill too, but it does take luck, you're through. Like, you get through really fast. Okay, now that I have Solitary Struggle, we can do this fight. Much like the dragon, this is a bad attack, by the way. He's going to do Angel Rain. But much like the dragon, you have to destroy the crystals around the fight before you actually fight the boss. Unfortunately, yeah, he did use Angel Rain, so this is going to be a little weird. Let's try and get the item back. Right now we separate Alicia. Use an overdrive here. This could swap his attack, and it did swap his attack to the bad attack that I don't want. That's rather unfortunate. So this is... I won't call this unsalvageable, but it's not good. Okay, that's better. I just kind of have to hope this works. Okay, I'm not in a good spot. I'm not dealing enough damage. So I didn't kill him. And I'm dead. Great! Oh! I'm not dead! It's a Christmas miracle! Imagine the boss just misses. Well, don't mind if I do. Hey, so we don't have to redo that fight. I'll take that, yeah. So after the fight, you find out that for whatever reason, the entrance to the entrance to, and I did say that right, the entrance to the Rainbow Bridge requires that you be either undead or a god. And Alicia's not a god. Rufus is like half god, so, you know, he slides by, but Alicia is not a god, and she's not dead, so she can't go through the gate. So instead, she's like, hey, you remember those guys that killed my dad? Those guys? Yeah, they became undead after doing that. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go get their undead recipe, and I'm gonna also become undead so that I can go through the gate. That's my plan. And so now we're gonna do that. Basically, all we're doing in this segment, other than collecting this sword, is going back to Deepan again to get some ghoul powder. So if there's anything, any donations or anything, this is really good time for it.
See, I know we did have one donation. It was from Anonymous. It was a $99 donation. And because of that, we actually have met that incentive for the Half Minute Hero 2 Second Coming Hero 3D model. So that is super awesome. Also, we just want to make everyone aware, if you have any questing for glory moments that you're super excited about, that you just were hyped for, go ahead and share those on social media using our hashtag questing or QFGHH2. Or if you even just have like a story about a personal struggle you had or a mental health struggle someone around you had, you can also tag that in there as well, along with hashtag together for MH.
Right, so a plot element that wasn't explained, or no, it was explained, excuse me, it wasn't explained by me, but the game would have explained it to you, is that Rufus, if Rufus has this big old ring, now if he takes this ring off, his very soul starts to burn away. Can I please get the swap? His soul starts to burn away because it turns out he's around for... The reason he's around is because he's supposed to be a backup body for Odin to inhabit. If Odin like dies or something, and his soul gets released from his body, then Odin will come down and use Rufus's body instead. And so basically all the ring does that Rufus is wearing is it like kind of like stops time for his body so his soul doesn't burn away. But the plan is to make Alicia undead, and then she can wear the ring, and then she doesn't, like, her status doesn't progress because she's wearing the ring, and she can keep her mind while also being undead. However, Rufus's soul will burn away because he doesn't have the ring on anymore. I mean, the ring is pretty big. I think you could probably, both of them could probably put their pinkies in the ring and it would fit, but, you know, don't worry about that. We'll just say only one of them can wear it. So only one of them can wear it, and so we're gonna have to really, really hurry through the gate and get to Asgard as fast as possible, because otherwise Rufus's soul is going to burn away. So that's going to be the gimmick of the next area. But for now, we basically just have to come back here and get the ghoul powder, which you scarf down. It's a pretty good meal, and it turns you into an undead guy. And yes, I didn't say it before, but this area, this sort of whole area and everything, if you've played Valkyrie Profile 1, this area is basically the same thing as the Lost City of Deepan, because in Valkyrie Profile 1, Lost City of Deepan is a dungeon that has just destroyed Deepan and everything. Lenneth goes back in time, and it's a weird story, but this was part of Valkyrie Profile 1. This is Deepan when it's not destroyed and then destroyed later as a main setting for this game, but you can actually fight the mages that become undead in Valkyrie Profile 1. They're the boss of this area. Whoops. But for now, they've just disappeared and left their ghoul powder behind. So you know, we're just gonna yoink that and be on our merry way. So now we just have to head back to the end of the Forest of Spirits. I'm not entirely sure why this section is in the game in the way it is. Maybe they ran out of time and they wanted to pad the game. Maybe they forgot to implement the fast travel feature on Deepan. Not entirely sure what the idea was here with this part of the game, because they just make you repeat dungeons that you've already done again, like you do it again. So, like, this is the 6th time I am entering the Royal Underground path. So yeah, not exactly sure what was going on there, but yeah, this is one of the more repetitive sections. Something to keep in mind is, of course, my health is very low, so you do still have to be very careful here. This is why I'm saving, is because you do want to be very careful not to get encounters that give enemy advantage, because they can still kill you really easily. And after Eric Terrace, only Alicia is alive, so you don't have guys that can like tank the damage for you. Like that. Okay, but we didn't get enemy advantage. That's good. Unfortunately, this is not super ideal. Yeah, it only changes the one time. Really. Oh, that's... No, that... I'm dead. No, I'm not dead. That lizard man had it out for me. This is... I just want to take it safe here, and I do the encounter instead of running away. Oh my dear Lord in heaven, what in the hell is that attack? Yeah, it is sometimes safer to just take encounters rather than try run away, because when you run away, and I don't know that I've failed to run away yet in this run, but if you do fail to run away, at the exit, if you fail, you lose all AP, and the enemies get to move and advance on your position, which can lead you to just die, right? I have no health right now, so, and the Beast Fort, if I failed to escape, the Beast Fort would get to turn and shoot me with his long-range attack, which is why I took the encounter instead, because I don't want to risk anything like that. Okay. So now we got the ghoul powder. We can head back. But first, we're just briefly going to take care of this. Okay, so we feed him an Express experience, equip Erendite sword. We get a sword called Arcturus for killing Arcturus. Yep, figure that one out. I'm just going to quickly set up for getting Magician Slayer. And then skills, attacks. We want to switch our attacks to Cross Slash and Free Soul the Unharrier. And then juice up. Just drink down those protein shakes, and now we're strong as hell. Steel cables it is. So Alicia is now really strong, so she'll deal a lot of damage to stuff. The other thing is Cross Slash is an interesting attack. Instead of normally like attacks just do one strike or maybe two strikes in there, when you use Cross Slash, if you wait... Okay, this is not working. Well, I need to take an encounter anyway. If you wait after you use Cross Slash... This is an incredibly awkward position for be in. But hold on. Here, you can do this. Yeah, when you use Cross Slash, if you wait, it does 3 extra hits, basically. So you have to wait for quite a while for Cross Slash to finish, but if you do, it does a lot of damage, and it basically acts as like 2 attacks. So it's a very good attack to use, and in combination with Cutting Edge, you can be quite quick with it. This guy's being terrible. There we go. I think I got Magician Slayer from that. Solitary Magician. Wow, I actually... Oh, no wonder Arcturus was taking no damage. I forgot to equip Solitary Struggle. I'm stupid? Oh, no. So yeah, I'm bad, but turns out doesn't matter. Pretend you didn't see that. Yeah, remember when I said Solitary Struggle is 100% required? Actually, just don't. Never mind. But yeah, now even stronger. I think this is like 1.75x stats because I have all of my other party members dead or something. So it's pretty good. Thankfully, it was only Eric Terrace that I forgot Solitary Struggle for, because I don't think you can finish some other boss fights. I don't think it could be routed out of the run. The only reason I finished Eric Terrace was because I got lucky enough for him to miss. If he hadn't missed, I would have definitely had to redo it. Okay. How am I doing on time?
Let me see. It looks like you're at 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad. There's a fair bit left to go, but I was just curious. Okay, so for most of the rest of the game, oh yes, right, and we are progressing into the area. There's going to be a timer on the screen, and it's basically just saying, if the timer runs out, you know, Rufus's soul catches fire and burns to the ground, and you lose. So don't do that. But yes, for most of the rest of the game, I'm going to be just threading through enemies with Alicia. She does a lot of damage now. And you can kill most encounters pretty well instantly if you just get next to them and then start attacking. Yeah, so we're just running through the ravine caverns for now. So yeah, if there's any donations or anything, now's another good time.
Let's see. Doesn't look like any new donations just yet, but we do want to give a big thank you and make everyone aware of all the artists who have donated prizes. Um, so basically, there's just a ton of people who have donated prizes and items to us for the stream, for everyone to enjoy and bid for. I'll just name a couple of them. We have Game KMD. They donated, some controllers, headsets, stuff like that. And you can follow them on Twitter at twitter.com/game_KMD and Instagram at game_KMD. We also have Plush Mayhem. They donated a bunch of plushies to us. Handmade Jenna doll, a dark blue slime plush, a metal slime plush, a secret Amana Ravite plush, and some handmade Eevee Soons. And you can follow them on twitter.com at plushmayhem.
Okay, we're just getting to the end of the ravine caverns here, which is the lead up to the Rainbow Bridge. Personally, my opinion, Rainbow Bridge, really cool area. I like the background effects. But now, this counts as being in Asgard, I guess, or sort of. So Rufus is not, his soul is not on fire anymore, and we're okay. So we can basically just go across the Rainbow Bridge and get directly to Asgard now. excuse me. There's going to be a few fights on the bridge itself, but they're not too difficult. And you can really start to get a feel for how powerful Alicia has become. Because like I can pretty much just skip right to behind the boss enemy here and pretty much just take care of him right away. No problem. These enemies that I'm fighting now are the Aesir, which if you're familiar with, I don't know, Norse names, or that's like the gods basically. So I'm killing gods right now. They're not really high level gods, but you are killing gods. So then you fight this Dimension Beast, because, you know, why not? This guy, if you were doing like a run where you were committed to not grinding for Magician Slayer, here is your second chance to get the red accessory for Magician Slayer. But again, we get behind them and take care of them. But yeah, I think it's... No, not Vermilion Cartilage. I can't remember what the item's called, but there is another red accessory that drops off of one of the tentacles that guy has. That if you break it, it'll drop, and that red accessory will give you Magician Slayer, much like Assault Missile will. Okay, so here's Heimdall, if you remember Heimdall. Not quite played by Idris Elba, but don't worry about that. So we start the fight off with a Might Potion. He can be pretty tricky, but there's a good strat for him. So you wait until these guys turn towards you and get pretty close. Try and get behind him in 2 dashes. Okay. And you have to wait for him to stand up, because if he does, and I screwed up, but it's okay. If you don't wait for him to stand up, you're gonna really be in trouble. Okay, this is not looking so good. It's fine. There's a backup for this. You have to wait for him to stand up, otherwise what'll happen is your attack will not hit. It'll hit... Did you see these little floating things behind him? It will instead hit those things, and it will do no damage. This, I think, is fine. Oh, there we go. Got him. He also has some scary attacks. If you don't do enough attacks to knock him far enough away, one of his attacks is actually a full circle attack around him. So if after the first string of attacks he's not far enough away from you, he can actually go to the circle attack and just kill you instantly. So it's a little bit tight. I actually screwed up there. There was a backup for it, but I did an extra attack. What you want to do is do one string of attacks, then do a charge break, then do another string of attacks, and just kill him. I had to move around and use the charge break because I used too much AP, but that is an eminently possible fight. Alright, so now that we're at Asgard, because you can just do that, you can just go to Asgard, why not? We are now going to try and climb Yggdrasil, the World Tree, so we can get to the top And Rufus can become a god. Very nice, and getting bounced around by fire. So there's a lot of platforming in this dungeon, but the most important thing that we're going to pick up here is there's a seal stone that allows you to break those crystals with your own throne crystals. So we're going to take a quick detour inside here, pick that up, and that'll let us progress through this whole dungeon. There's a forced fight here that we have to take, but it's very simple. Pretty much just a dash here and a dash there, and you kill him. If Bloody Patch is a drop that is gotten in this dungeon, then you would get the Bloody Patch here if you were on the Zunda route, but you don't get the Bloody Patch in the Alicia route because you don't need it. It is necessary for the Zund route, though. I believe that is because at the end of the game, Alicia's stats are carried over to Valkyrie, but you don't use Valkyrie if you are using the Zund route. What in the holy guacamole? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. So you do need to get the Bloody Patch in Zund route. So a lot of the developers really put a lot of effort into designing the platforming puzzles in Yggdrasil, and I think it kind of shows because I think this is probably one of the more fun dungeons to traverse in terms of just using all your different platforming skills and abilities. Okay, so we're coming up on the boss here. We just want to quickly get rid of this magical light blessing and switch it out for sword blessing and revive not Rufus. Well, actually I don't think it matters. It could be Rufus. It doesn't matter if it's Rufus, but anyway. So we're gonna go fight Odin, the big man himself. The first part is a supposed to lose fight, so you actually just have to get Odin to half health, and then he instantly kills you, and you go into phase 2. Something important about supposed to lose fights: if Alicia is your only character and you die, even though you were supposed to lose the fight, if Alicia is your only character and she dies, you actually game over. So you need one other guy alive. It doesn't matter who it is, just as long as there's one other guy alive. Odin counts as a magician for the purposes of Magician Slayer, so he actually does take extra damage if you have that skill. You can actually kill Odin there and win the fight, But even if you win in the fight, you will lose in the cutscene, so kind of disappointing there, but right, that's fine, I think. My potion Alicia. Right, so the general strategy for this fight is using my potion on Alicia if he's got an attack that's like a circle around him. Well, you use a my potion anyway. And then you want to wait for him to get down to this second step area before getting behind him, because otherwise what'll happen is it'll become more awkward for him to be hit. Oh, great. And then he does this, where he, even though you're behind him, he turns 180 degrees to look at you, and very, very, very irritating fellow. What you're hoping to have happen is when you attack him, you knock him into your teammates, and then your teammates die, and you get the bonus for solitary struggle. Unfortunately, that didn't quite happen here, but I can manipulate him into turning around, and then hopefully I can do it again here. Nope, again he turned around. So this is pretty bad luck, but there's not really much I can do about this. This might kill everyone. Okay, it didn't kill Lazard, but we're still in it. All we have to do is revive Alicia. She's now not poisoned, but it's okay because I'm at a low enough health threshold for Dragon Rib, I think, and I should be replacing the Black Crystal pretty soon anyway. So yeah, pretty bad luck with that fight, but it turned out okay in the end anyway. Right, so turns out it was all lies. Eating the crystal at the top of Yggdrasil does not turn you into a god. Lazard, who joined us again, even though he betrayed us before, we didn't know he betrayed us before, but now he betrayed us again, and now we know he betrayed us. So now we're sure that he definitely betrayed us. And he basically killed Odin, put Odin's body into Rufus, and then stole Rufus and betrayed us. So he stole Rufus, and he also has Silmaria's like crystal she's trapped in. So yeah, he triple betrayed us. I mean, you know how it is. Turns out though, if you recall, Einherjar are kind of like they kind of come from in this game from items that were associated with them. So like you retrieve Crad from a sword, you retrieve Arcana from a bow. Rufus, the item that was associated with Rufus, is his ring. So even though Rufus is now dead, just like any other Einherjar, we can go find his ring and revive him. So his ring that Odin took off when he took over his body fell like 3,000 miles down Yggdrasil. So we just have to come down here and fight this Drake that found it and kill the Drake and get Rufus back. And yes, when Lazard killed Odin, he also stole Odin's weapon, Gungnir, the spear Gungnir, which is one of the 4 treasures that stabilizes the world. If you remember, the Dragon Orb is another one of those treasures. But Gungnir is also one of those treasures. Alright, so now that we got Rufus back, and Lazard has betrayed us, and And basically what Lazard did is he took the Dragon Orb. Wait, no, not the Dragon Orb. He took Gungnir, and he took Silmeria, and he took Odin's body. He used Odin's, or rather Rufus's body to become a god. So now Lazard is a god. So he used Rufus's body to become a god, then used Gungnir to make a new world, like a new world tree. So he basically created a pocket dimension for himself. And that is where he has gone. Now, we can't just follow him easily, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to head here into Asgard Palace, and they got this fancy telephone thing called the Water Mirror that basically lets you call anyone anywhere in the entire world, and you can actually, if you step through the Water Mirror, you can go there too. So what we're going to do is we're going to call up Lazard on our Water Mirror, and then we're going to teleport to where he is, and we're gonna rip his head off, and it'll all be fine. What if he doesn't pick up the phone? You wouldn't just not pick up the phone. Come on. Oh yes, and if you recall, Arngrim died and became an Einherjar. Hrist turned him into an Einherjar. And yeah, now that we're in Asgard, where all the Einherjar live, we can get Arngrim again. So now we get Arngrim back. Okay, so the gimmick in Asgard Palace is basically there are 3 switches that have to be activated in order to remove this seal on the door. You can see the seal over here, this blue triangle. So in order to remove that, you have to activate 3 switches, and the switches just require 2 blocks to be pushed onto them. So we will be going around and hitting these switches to open up the pathway to the water mirror. There's also another power bangle in the palace, and if you recall, the power bangle gave us like a massive boost to our attack power, but we definitely want the second power bangle. So we'll be picking that one up as well. Now that should be all of our equipment pretty much for the end game, other than I think one piece that we get later. So we're pretty good to go here in terms of power. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other donations or anything. I'm just going to finish up the palace here.
Sure, we do actually have 2 donations. So we have a $50 donation from Ramingo that says, "All the best with the run." We also have a $5 donation from Negi CR that says, "East was a good show."
Oh yeah, so for this particular, the one switch, I have to kill a dragon that is blocking the hallway. And I didn't mention it before, but there are a few enemies like this in a couple of the other optional dungeons, or just dungeons that you have to visit, but I don't visit those rooms or whatever, where you can actually see, if you look at the mini-map, there's a seal stone on top of the enemy. He's wearing it like a little hat. So if you are looking to get all the seal stones, or at least look at all the seal stones, you're gonna have to kill a few enemies like this, and there are a few forced encounters like this. But these aren't too. These fights are generally not too hard. But oh wow, look at that. This is chaotic rune, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just take care of this guy here. Really. Okay, let's go through the palace again, I guess. Nice, dude. Excellent. So the reason that happened is, despite the fact that Rufus was not on the same team as me, and he wasn't really all that close to me either, he moved up when I attacked, and that put him in range to mess everything up. So yeah, that didn't go so well. Ideally, actually, Rufus would die in that fight. But it doesn't really matter. Yes, because if he died, you could get some extra HPs, or you get some extra damage with your weapon, because it's solitary struggle. But unfortunate, but that's what happens when you're at such a low health. It is okay though, because we can just go right back through. It's not too much. Well, I mean, it's a fair amount of time lost, but it's not too bad. There's some really weird things with the combat system. Now, I like this game a lot. But there are some weird things with the combat system where, like, okay, it's position based, and there are attacks that are full 360 degrees. Not the biggest fan of that. And there are weird things like you warp around. It's actually almost quite buggy in some cases, where you'll like shoot up and down small ledges that are near, like just behind you, when you back up after attacking something. So there's some really weird quirks with this game. It's not perfect. I do think it's quite good, but you know. Zelmus. You can't hear him, but coming through on our headphones. I'm actually just gonna quit the power bangle now to get the extra power. I could have done more damage to the dragon if I had equipped the power bangle, but it's fine. Just one more trip through the old palace here. Pretty nice place. I don't know about you, but I think, you know, it wouldn't be a bad place to live. Oh, whoops. And now I'm forgetting myself because I usually don't die here too often. Yeah, I don't know if you... I guess if you wanna... if you wanna cover maybe some Nami, some more information about Nami or donations.
I can do that.
Gotta...
So we are here supporting NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around the three pillars of education and support, awareness, and advocacy. Now, what awareness looks like in regards to NAMI is that NAMI does participate in nationwide awareness opportunities like Mental Health Month, Suicide Prevention Month, and Mental Illness Awareness Week. And NAMI has partnerships with a wide range of companies and organizations such as Fox Sports and Google that NAMI uses to get their name and their mission in front of new audiences. In terms of advocacy, NAMI also engages in federal advocacy and supports NAMI state organizations at the state in their state level advocacy efforts. You also may have noticed talk about incentives and prizes, and that means that you get to vote with your wallet to name characters, get our runners to complete different difficult or ridiculous tasks, or to help pick which story you get to see at certain games. You can also become eligible to win prizes donated by our community members, and all donations do go to NAMI. For more information, you can type donate in chat as well as exclamation point bids and exclamation point prizes to see what all of those donation incentives prizes are.
We're coming up on the boss of this area, my Lady Freya. You actually, it's another supposed to lose fight, so you just need someone else to be alive during this fight, and you just need to get her to half health. This fight is actually pretty funky because the strat for it doesn't look like it should work, and it might not work actually, but it should. So right off, you start the fight immediately, and okay, it might not work here, but it should. You immediately dash, and yep, I was unlucky. So she had a circle attack. That's not good. But you can see I actually traveled through her and ended up behind her immediately. So as long as it's not a circle attack, which it was, because of course it was, uh, but if it isn't a circle attack, you get directly behind her and you can immediately attack her and finish the fight pretty quickly there. But of course, um, you know, circle attacks, why not? Okay, try again. This is better this time. So we end up behind her and we can just immediately try and do some damage here. Because we are on stairs, you do have to wait for your hits to go through, but yeah, otherwise it's good. Okay, so we beat Freya, and we call up Lazard on our water mirror, and then we get Brahms. Turns out when Brahms disappeared before, it was Hrist kidnapped him and put him in a crystal, but now we get him, and Hrist does a heel face turn, and now Hrist is a good guy, and we're all pals, and it's all good. And we even get a cute Lenneth here. Because Lenneth decided to also show up to the party. Valkyrie Profile 1, she finished Valkyrie Profile 1 and then went back in time because Lazard actually, turns out he time traveled from Valkyrie Profile 1 to ruin everything in the past. And Lenneth is here to put him in handcuffs and bring him back. So now Lenneth is also here. He's hanging out. You know how it is. And that was nice, wasn't it? So now, a couple things we gotta do. Unfortunately, we don't actually get to use Lenneth. But we do get to steal her weapon and put it on Alicia, because Alicia's been taking performance enhancers this whole run, and so now she's really strong, so we get the best weapon as well. So for this fight, much like the Drake battle in Surdberg Ruins, we're going to try and do something. I'm going to attempt this. It may not work, but I hope it does. And it didn't work, so... Oh! Or Arngrim's really good at this game? What the hell? I didn't know. Turns out Arngrim's pretty good. Okay. Wow. Well then. Problem solved. Normally what happens there is bad things happen there. But this time it wasn't too bad. So we're gonna do the same thing as the guy in Surdberg Ruins, the Drake, and we're just gonna knock this guy off the ledge. And he's gone. And this whole area, up until you get to fighting Lazard like 3 times in a row, is pretty much Arngrim's playground, because he is really good at knocking things off of ledges. So we're gonna use him for a little bit here. Despite the fact that you don't get to use him at all in the early game, he's pretty good once you get to the very end of the game. And yes, so we're in Lazard's new world now that he made using Gungnir, so we come here to beat him up. So there's a skip here. Fancy skip you can do. It's the only skip in the entire game that you can actually do. Because of the cheat protection and all that. We're going to edge up on this pillar here. And then you want to jump and attack at the same time. Attack diagonally downwards. Then you just escape from the fight. And if all things work, bada bing, bada boom, you just jump right over him and you're done. You don't have to fight that vampire. That's the only skip in the game that you can do, from what I understand. Like, because that fight is supposed to be mandatory, but yeah, you can just jump right over it if you do just the right sequence of inputs. Okay, so we're heading towards another fight here. Now, if you recall, Lazard kidnapped Silmeria. And now we have Lenneth, and we have Harist, who joined up with us. So Lazard, being a weirdo, decided to put Silmeria in like a fake Silmeria body. I don't know what his idea was there, but anyway, works for me, because that means we can get her back. If she doesn't have a circle attack, and now she doesn't. So as before. Give her the old 1, 2, 3. And there's another circle attack, so that's not good. Use a holy gem here. And that didn't do it. So I need literally any attack that's not a circle attack. Good. Line him up. And knock him down. And that didn't quite do it. But there we go. He's gone. Good. So that gets us Silmeria. So now we actually have all 3 of them. We got all 3 Valkyries. Pretty good. It's like Avengers Assemble, but not quite. And very quickly here, we're going to basically just fight Lazard 3 times to finish off the game. This fight's not too bad, this first one. Essentially what we want to do is we want to just use a Might Potion, dash behind him, punch him until he's close enough to where he kills Arngrim, and then we kill him. That's the idea here. So first off, use a Might Potion. Then dash behind him. Didn't quite make it behind him, but we're pretty good. Oh, and I forgot to change my attacks, but it doesn't matter. There we go, Poison Blow, that's good. Alright, you take care of that. In terms of price, Valkyrie Profile 1, last time I checked was like $300. And that actually is the selling price of it. It's not, it's been that way since before the virus, so it may be inflated, but that is the actual selling price of it. If anyone is curious. I don't know if it's gone up, but I don't think it, I mean, I don't see why it would have, but... Okay, so we're just moving on to the next. Lazard fight. Now this one is a gimmick fight. Essentially, Lazard has trapped Lenneth in a crystal prison. Get me out of this whack-ass crystal prison, if you will. And essentially, we just got to destroy the prison. Now, the prison itself is not really anything. It doesn't do anything. It just sits around. But it doesn't take any damage. Unless you knock out Lazard. So what you want to do here is just, you got to punch Lazard, deal at least 1,000 damage. Where is it, my potion? You deal at least 1,000 damage to Lazard. And when you deal at least 1,000 damage to him, Okay, this is not working. There we go. When you deal at least 1,000 damage to the Lizard, he'll be disabled temporarily. And while he's disabled, you can then attack the crystal barrier and deal real damage to it. So, and I forgot to change my attacks again, but it doesn't matter. I want to have at least enough AP to use a charge break and get my AP back. And then I just have to hit him one more time, and we're good. Alright, and that's the end of that fight. So now we're going to go into the final fight. This is it. This is the end of the game. Time is when I get the last hit on Lizard. So first... Oh, yes. And so story-wise, after beating up Lizard, he destroys something or other that wrecks all the Valkyries, and it's a bad scene. Alicia says... Well, all the Valkyries need a host, basically, for them to have a physical form. Alicia says, hey, you know, just use my body. And so all 3 Valkyries combine into one Valkyrie, and we get this Valkyrie, whose name is Valkyrie. Yeah. Anyway, she does bonus damage to Lizard, who is the final boss. So we want to definitely use her. Fists of Iron, Solitary Struggle, and Magician Slayer, because final Lizard does count as a Magician type enemy. We want Spiral Pierce, Cutting Edge, and Pierce. Okay, so now that I've equipped and used the items, we free these 2 Einherjar. We carried these Einherjar all the way to the end of the game just so we could free them here and then juice up Valkyrie. So now Valkyrie is like super juiced up. And now we can do this fight. Alright, so what we want to do here is we want to take damage for Dragon Rib, and we want to get rid of all of our party members so that we can actually do real damage with Solitary Struggle. Unfortunately, Lizard does not like to cooperate, so he's going to do some weird things here. Like this. What the hell was that? Okay, and now Overdrive, and I don't want him to be like, what is going on here? Okay, I guess. Like I can't accept this. This is not a usable attack, so this does not work for me. Use literally any item. It doesn't matter. Just give me something that's not that attack. Okay, that works. So I'm gonna try and get in a position where I can dash behind him. Like so. This should work, I think. I want to dash behind him. And it's not really that great. So hopefully this works. We'll just change teams so that Brahms will walk towards us. And he'll walk into the attack. And then we'll see if we can finish him here. Time is coming up. And... I don't have enough AP, so this could be bad. I might have to retry. Oh no, never mind. I had too much HP, so it doesn't matter. Oh, that's right, because I didn't take that much damage. Right. Never mind. He's an idiot. That's time. And that's it. That's it. It's over. That's time. And you kill Lazard, and you save the world. And yeah, that's the end. All right. So thank you for watching my run, everyone. What was the time?
It was 2:58:07.
Okay, so just squeaking by under estimate.
Well, GG on the run. You did a great job.
Thank you. And thank you everyone in chat for the GGs. So yeah, just to finish up the plot, Lazard is kill. Valkyrie also dies because she gets stabbed by Lazard using Gungnir. So she dies too. Alicia's soul, all three Valkyrie souls go scatter off to reincarnate later. Lazard's soul basically burns up and dissolves and is lost forever because he was too much of a dickhead and now can't be allowed to reincarnate ever again.
You have toyed with countless souls. You have used Gungnir to wreak havoc and destruction on the
and
world.
then Rufus, Arngrim, and Brahms basically just hang out for a little bit at the end of the world here. Until Brahms decides to die in Lazard's world because he's mortal there instead of being undead. Rufus goes back and returns Gungnir to Asgard, so that stabilizes that realm. And then Arngrim gets the Dragon Orb and brings that back to Midgard to stabilize Midgard. And everything works out for the best, I guess. Yeah. So, you can just cut me off whenever. The last cutscenes will explain this, but I don't know if we have even time for that, so. Alright, so just, yeah, tell me when